All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are talking about one of the biggest shakeups happening in tech right now, how AI is completely changing the game for software development. Honestly, it's moving way faster than anyone thought, and it brings up a huge question.
Yeah, I know. It sounds a little like sci-fi, doesn't it? But this is the real tension we're going to unpack today. You see, as AI gets better and better at doing complex work, the whole idea of project leadership is being put to the test. Are we really heading toward a future where algorithms are in charge?
So, to really get a handle on this, let's look at two totally different models. On one hand, you've got the team coach. This is the way we've done things for years, a human leader who's all about the people. But on the other hand, there's this new idea, the system pilot, a leader whose job is to manage an AI-driven process. Let's start with what we're all familiar with.
For the past 20 years or so, one way of working has pretty much ruled software development, and that's Scrum. Its entire design is built around people working together, face to face.
The whole idea behind Scrum is pretty simple, right? A team that manages itself works in these short bursts, we call them sprints, to get stuff done. It's all about talking to each other constantly, being able to pivot when things change, and really empowering the folks who are actually doing the work. And right in the middle of this very human process is the Scrum Master. And you'll notice their job isn't to boss people around. No, it's about being a coach, a facilitator, someone who clears roadblocks so the team can do its best work. It is fundamentally a role about people skills and understanding group dynamics.
But now, there's a new player in the game. We're starting to see the first real development methods that aren't designed for humans to follow, but for an AI to actually run.
And that's called the AI-driven development lifecycle, or AI-DLC. The main idea here is that it's a partnership. You let the AI handle all the grunt work, all the repetitive stuff, but, and this is key, it has to stop and get a human's okay before moving on to the next critical step. So take a look at this workflow from AWS. It maps out the whole process. Now, it might look a little complicated, but it really just boils down to three main phases where the AI does the heavy lifting. But as you're about to see, a human is always in the driver's seat. So in phase 1, inception, the AI helps figure out what actually needs to be built. Then, in construction, it's the one writing code and running tests. And finally, in operations, it helps push the software out and keeps an eye on things. But here's the most important part. At the end of every single one of these stages, the AI basically holds up its work and asks a human, "Hey, does this look right? Can I proceed?" Okay, so what does all this actually mean for the people on the team? Well, this isn't just some theory. We can actually measure the real-world impact this is having on how much work it takes to get things done. Check this out. Research from Infosys shows that developers are getting the biggest boost. With AI tools, they can cut their effort by up to 30%. But look, it's not just them. Project managers, testers, they're all seeing big efficiency gains too. This is one of those things that just makes everything better for everyone involved. Now, this quote gets to something really profound that's changing. The most important skill is shifting away from being able to write super complex code to being able to write super clear instructions or prompts for an AI. And this shows it perfectly. On the left, someone just types a sentence, and poof, out comes working code. On the right, a simple list becomes a full-blown process diagram. The AI is doing all the heavy lifting, translating what a person wants into a technical result. So this brings us to the big, kind of scary question, right? If AI can write code and make diagrams and even help run the workflow, what in the world happens to the human jobs like the Scrum Master that were designed for a world before all this? And listen, this isn't some made-up fear. This is a real post from a real Scrum Master on Reddit, and it just perfectly captures the anxiety that a lot of people are feeling right now. It's the big one. Is my job about to disappear? But here is a really critical counterpoint from a strategist named Anand Pandey. He says the real threat isn't the AI. The real threat is a job market that's just, well, it's run out of patience for roles that don't have a clear high-level impact. The AI just put that trend into overdrive. And this is the real change we need to wrap our heads around. This isn't about people being replaced. It's about their roles evolving. Our value is shifting away from just managing a process and moving towards something an AI just can't do, exercising real strategic judgment. You know, just a few years ago, it was enough to be a great facilitator.
You ran the meetings, made sure everyone was on the same page, and that was great. But today, hiring managers are looking for something totally different. They want people who can get in there and actually reduce risk, who can handle tough conversations with executives, and who can make the hard trade-offs crystal clear for everybody. Pandey has this great acronym for these skills you just can't automate. RISK. It's about taking full responsibility for the final outcome. It's about being able to influence people even when you don't have formal authority. It's about system-level thinking, seeing the whole board, not just one piece, and it's about keeping calm when the pressure is on. An AI can spit out a report, sure, but it can't do any of this. This right here is the new human-centric value.
And that leads us to the final thought I want to leave you with. This question isn't about some distant future, 5 or 10 years away. This is the career question you should be asking yourself right now. Because if you can give an honest answer to this, that answer will show you exactly where you need to focus to not just survive, but to become more valuable than ever in this new age of AI.